conclusion inevitable.
It was a jump to conclusions, Matt.
My conclusion was that this idea was not a practical deterrent.
My only conclusion can be that it was a Sith Lord.
In conclusion.
Hello there, folks! Welcome back to In Conclusion, the only movie podcast where the sequel is exactly the same as the first, but also slightly different and a little bit sexier. I'm Dan O'Keefe, and joining me as always is Anna Otto. How are you, Anna?
I'm fine, Dan. I'm all right. I fostered a dog this past weekend, and I have not yet emotionally recovered from the fact that I fell deeply in love with her and probably can't adopt her. So if you need me, I'll be crying for the rest of my life.
Sexy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell the story. What's the dog's name?
Her name is Blondie.
Why'd you fall in love with it?
Because she's perfect. Because she's a dog. Like, I don't know that. Don't know why I needed to explain why I fell in love.
Has she been adopted yet?
No, she hasn't gotten fixed yet, so that's coming up soon, and then she might get to come to the doggy daycare so I can see her and shower her in kisses and my tears. I look forward to it.
If you are either looking for a dog to adopt in the greater Milwaukee area, or looking to break Anna's heart, you do both at the same time. Kill two birds with one stone. Look for a dog named Blondie at somewhere in Milwaukee. Am I wrong? I don't know.
No, you're right.
Where.
Should I shout out the shelter?
Do it.
It's off the chain.
Yeah.
Off the chain Milwaukee, y'all. They got great dogs, and they're run by great people. And the dogs are always 10-10 cute, because all dogs are 10-10 cute. Okay, carry on.
Also joining us today, surrounded by two cats that both left the frame about exactly when we started recording.
Sad.
It's Cassie Gherardini again. How are you, Cassie?
Hello. I'm doing great. I'm sure that the cats will be back because they have not been fed yet tonight, and they're a little bit overdue,
Cassie.
So they're bugging me. But, yes. Also, Anna, I don't think I am over
Thank
Blondie
God.
either,
I thought it was just me.
TBH. No, she was perfect.
I
Sweet baby
told
angel.
Gage that losing her this weekend was akin to the worst breakup I've ever had in my life. So,
Oh my gosh.
so anyway,
It was a whirlwind romance.
it was a whirlwind romance. She also had the worst farts I've ever smelled in my life, but you win some, you lose some. Am I right?
Oh my God.
Speaking of the worst farts I've ever smelled in my life, the movie that we're talking about today is, of course, the sequel to National Treasure, National Treasure Book of Secrets, released on home video as National Treasure 2 Book of Secrets.
Was this movie never in theaters?
No, it was.
Oh,
they changed the
good.
title for
Definitely
the
in
DVD.
theaters.
Oh my God, for a second I was like, excuse me? I was so confused. Okay, carry on.
Oh, no. I remember seeing this in theaters.
Yes,
Yeah, this is one of my most vivid memories of
Oh
middle
God,
school.
I was gonna say I could have swore I saw this in theaters, but maybe I was making up false memories, so I just needed to check in.
So, the movie, once again, directed by John Turteltaub, produced by Jerry Bruckheimer, written by the Wibberleys and also 3 other people. This movie took 5 writers.
And they really didn't work that hard, apparently.
No, they did not.
Anyway.
Starring Nicolas Cage, Jon Voight, Harvey Keitel, people's sexiest bald man alive, Ed Harris, Diane Kruger, Justin Bartha, Bruce Greenwood, and Helen Mirren. It was again released by Disney, this time on December 21st, 2007, with a budget of $130 million. It made $459.2 million, and on Rotten Tomatoes, it has an approval rating of 36%.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh, can I just say something?
That sounds
I
accurate.
completely forgot and then was reminded this weekend that Jon Voight is Angelina Jolie's dad.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to share that I, like I said, completely forgot and then was reminded of and was completely shocked. So,
I don't know if
Yeah.
I knew that.
that's her dad. They look nothing alike
Yeah.
at all.
They both have the sexy lips.
Yeah, but it works
John
on only
Voight's
one of them.
sexy lips.
And it's John Voight. No, I'm kidding. They look nothing alike to me. I had no
they
idea.
don't. I mean, I don't know Angelina Jolie's plastic
True.
surgery history, but
True. We don't know. Looks like we have our own treasure hunt. I don't know. Mystery. I was gonna say mystery, but I didn't know that worked.
Is there a Playfair cipher to
Yeah,
this
you have
one?
to go visit like all the historical sites of plastic surgeries that have happened. The first boob job, the first Botox.
You have to be would you say that you have to be a Tomb Raider?
I'm really mad at
Because
you.
Angelina Jolie starred as Lara Croft.
Yes.
Tomb Raider.
She did. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Dan.
You're welcome.
These jokes are
You're
painful.
welcome.
I'm
Yes.
sorry, everyone.
Don't worry. The jokes are the least painful part of this. There's the movie.
True.
So, as I said, I definitely remember seeing this in theaters, and seeing as it came out on December 21st, I probably saw this on my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Dan. What a fun little
Thank
present
you.
for you.
Wow.
I know, I need to double check that Night at the Museum didn't come out at the same time.
Were you having do you think like a fun birthday party to the movie theater?
No, all my friends were always out of town around
yeah,
my birthday. So my birthday's
true.
on New Year's Eve, so everybody's either out of town or doing something with their family or their friends now that they're older and have friends. And on my birthday, I'm like, but come on, it's my birthday, guys. Let's celebrate my birthday. No, okay, guess I'll just go watch the Hobbit movies in theaters.
Oh,
Which I
I'm
did spend
sorry.
3 consecutive birthdays doing because they all came out in December.
no.
But we probably, because this would have been my 10th birthday. So we probably went to Steak and Shake.
Ooh.
I got my chicken fingers and fries and a shake, a
I
peanut
like the
butter
shake
cup
part.
shake.
Yum.
Classic.
And then we went to the movie theater and saw National Treasure 2. And I think I enjoyed it
that
at the
sounds
time.
so fun, honestly. I would love to go to Steak and You know what? The
Yeah.
pandemic is making me wish I could go to Steak and Shake and see a movie in the theaters. Wear a mask, friends. That's all.
Get vaccinated when you
Seriously.
can.
Yeah. Oh, my dad and my grandparents
Yeah.
got their first vaccines. Well, not their first ever vaccines,
Ooh,
but their first COVID
nice.
vaccines. I'm so excited for them.
Wow.
That's
They've
good.
dodged polio this long.
Yeah, for real. My family is, knock on wood, nobody on my dad's side has ever had the chicken pox, so we're all kind of scared of the chicken pox.
Do you not get the vaccine?
Oh, we got the vaccine, but the older you get, the more bad it is if you get chicken pox.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm vaxxed up. Don't worry. I'm just casually fainting at the doctor's office, but I do it for a cause. Anyway.
So Cassie, you saw this in theaters too, right?
I did, yeah. And I do vividly remember seeing this in the theaters. And I mean, I guess I would have because I remember seeing it with a bunch of my friends from school.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this was one of those that somebody's mom picked us up at the end of the school day and we all went to the theater. I saw this at the Northbrook Court movie theater, the AMC.
Absolutely.
Ooh.
Yes. So I imagine it would have been sometime in January because we would have been back in school, I'm pretty sure, when we saw this. But yeah, no, I vividly remember going with a group of friends. And then I also remember because there's the whole cliffhanger bit that they have at the end of this because they were prepping for a third movie that never happened. And I remember that we all stayed to the very end of the credits because we thought there would be a post-credit scene because this was fairly it was, I just looked it up because the third Pirates of the Caribbean movie that had that post-credit scene
That was a big deal.
had come out. Yeah, it had come out earlier in the year. And so that was that was, I feel the first kind of I don't know, realizing that post-credit scenes were going to be a thing that I had. So we were all oh, we got to stay because I bet there's going to be a post-credit scene. And there Fucking
They
wasn't,
really
so,
said, "Screw you, Cassie."
I know, this is like, the worst. Because, like, I loved this movie definitely when it came out, because I really liked the first one. And so this was like, I was so hyped for there to be a third one. So hyped. This was like coming in like right at the time that I was like super into American history. Felicity was my favorite American Girl doll.
Goodness.
I was like, in 2009, that was the first, or well, no, it would have been in like late 2007 was when I went to Washington, D.C. for the first time, because I went with like a youth conference.
Ooh.
And
Young Life tackles Washington, D.C.
I don't know if this was like a thing that like you guys had at your schools, but we like, there was this youth conference. It was like, for middle school age, it was called, I think it was Junior National Leadership Youth Conference, like NYLC, and like your teachers could nominate people. So like I think I was nominated by a choir teacher or like the music teacher who I sang in like the church choir with. And she also did all the music direction for like the musicals. And I think she nominated me, but like, every year a group of kids would get nominated, and like nobody goes because it's super expensive. And like it's
too much money for what it's worth.
But apparently my parents sent me. They let me go. It was very fun. It also then made it so that I would get an invite to, they do it, or at least they did in, the late aughts. They did like a second one that only happened during like presidential inauguration years. It was called like the PYIC, which was like Presidential Youth Inauguration Conference or something. So I got to go to Obama's inauguration.
Oh, that's cool.
Look at you.
Yeah, and by go to Obama's inauguration, I mean stand on like the mall and watch a jumbo.
That's still pretty cool though.
But still very cool. It was like I gotta say, one of like the most awesome experiences of my,
that's awesome.
my middle school years. That was really cool. Glad my parents spent money on that.
That's awesome.
Thanks, Mom and Dad. I remember, like, because we had to say, like, whether or not I was going to go. Like, we had to pay the tuition for it before we knew who had won. And so I think part of the reason my parents said yes was because it was, like, either way this goes, it's going to be a historic inauguration, because it was either going to be the first Black president or it was going to be the first female vice president. So then they were like, we'll do this.
Those were the days.
But anyway,
man.
so this was like, so these movies were like really hitting me at a point where I was like very much into American history. This probably like played a lot into my just like early life experiences of being like, oh yeah, America is great. I had a thought like later on, like in the movie, I was like, man, what if this was just like propaganda from the Bush administration?
Oh my god, the tea is boiling.
Make us think that the presidency is great.
This just in, National Treasure is American propaganda.
Yeah. So anyway, all of that to say, long story short, I do remember seeing this movie in theaters. I do remember the first time I saw it.
Anna, what about you?
Short story short, I probably saw it in a theater because my mom really likes this movie, but I have no memory. We like the first one better in my family. I owned the first one on DVD, but not the second one, so. Yeah.
Picking up on the theme of National Treasure Book of Secrets is American propaganda. The Iraq War troop surge occurred in 2007, and maybe America just needed a big moral boost, and the only way they could get that was from Nicolas Cage at the end of the year.
They were like, the only thing besides a national tragedy that could boost the morale of America and patriotism
is a national
treasure, which is kind of a tragedy, so...
Yeah. Well, because, like, the first movie, obviously is about American history and is about all of these significant pieces of American history that we all learn about, whether in a biased way or not. but it doesn't really deal with any kinds of like sort of tangible things that we could like that we have now. Like it deals very much in like historic things. This one obviously does the same, but it brings in the element of like we get to see who the president is, and like there's things about like they talk about the presidency and like, you know, oh, the greatest men and the brightest men in our country sat at this desk, and like, oh, and you know, Mr. President, you're in such an important seat, so you have a duty to, you know, help me find this treasure. And
Because he's got nothing better to do.
yeah, like you have to be a good person, and it's like it is very much like singing the praises of the presidential position. Like those were not the brightest men in our country. Like those were, and they were not good people. I think very few of them you could really argue were like great people.
I mean, we could go back through time and find some very colorful personalities from a lot of our leaders.
Oh yeah.
Also, in the movie, the president is played by Bruce Greenwood, who's a Canadian.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
he can't be a great man. Only great men come from America.
Amen.
I also only learned history from National Treasure and Book of Secrets
Correct.
and George Bush's
Also, that-
autobiography.
Oh no.
Yikes.
Oh my god.
But that actor, like he's in everything.
Everything.
But that was the first time I think I have ever heard his name.
Really?
Like, yeah, I have no idea who he was, but he's in literally everything.
Off the top of my head, he's in this. He's in Star Trek, the new ones, where he plays Captain Pike. He's in The People vs. OJ, where he's the DA.
That's probably what I'm like remembering him most vividly from, because I watched that recently.
Yeah, and then I think he's in my dreams every night. So
Lord above.
it all rounds out. Let's get into the movie, because I mean, I can summarize it very quickly. Second verse, same as the first, but
Pretty
sexier.
much.
So
And more Ty Burrell.
Yeah. Instead of Nicolas Cage's family being involved with the American Revolution this time, no, it's the assassination of President Abraham Lincoln we start off
Wild.
with,
We're getting wild.
where Nicolas Cage's great
Grandpappy.
grandfather gets killed by one of the co-conspirators, and he had like this decoder ring page or something that he threw into the fire, and then he told his son a clue to like the trial that all men go through. Oops, oopsie doopsie, I'm dying. Don't tell anyone that the passcode is dying.
How ironic.
Of course, the evil guy, because it's Raiders of the Lost Ark, pulls the burning page out of the fire. And then we flash forward to Nicolas Cage giving a speech to some college class where sexy Ed Harris is watching and sexily being evil.
I did not find him that sexy, Dan. I'll just say right now.
My mother is coming for you, and she will fight you.
Sorry, Mrs. O'Keefe.
Have you seen Westworld?
I have not. It's on our to watch on HBO Max.
Okay.
I was... Cassie, sorry.
Yeah.
I was talking to my brother about The Truman Show.
I love The Truman Show. Is he in that? I wouldn't even know.
Yeah, he is. But he was like, I haven't even seen it the whole way through. But like, because we were talking about WandaVision and how...
I love WandaVision too.
The actress from WandaVision is in The Truman Show. And he was like, I don't even know who's in it. I know there's Jim Carrey and the sexy bald guy, but no one else. And he was talking about Ed Harris. But sorry, Cassie, I cut you off.
Oh, boy.
No, you're good. The funny part about this movie, like, while I have these vivid memories of seeing it in theaters, I could not, for the life of me, prior to watching it tonight, tell you what
me
this movie
either.
Right?
I could not remember a
Like,
single
I
plot point from this
completely-
movie until I started watching it. Then I was like, oh, yes, I remember this.
Yeah, it all like came flooding
Yeah.
back in, but I was like, oh yeah, it's about Lincoln, and there's that CGI
Yup.
Lincoln in it. Like,
I was like, it's all coming back to me now.
They didn't even need a
Yeah,
CGI
but
Lincoln. It's a Disney movie. Go to Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln and use that.
Oh, goodness.
It's for 2007. It's not bad.
No, that's true.
No.
So
Helps that it's only like this much of his
Yeah.
face.
So basically, what sexy, evil, deep blue-eyed stare Ed Harris says is that my great granddaddy saw that your great great granddaddy was part of a scheme to kill the president, and now your family's name is Mud. So your legacy's tarnished again. See, I have this somehow immaculate burnt piece of paper in my pocket from 150 years ago.
And of course,
He
it's
also
a
has this
perfect
really,
match. What?
He's this really bad Southern accent throughout
Yes.
the whole movie.
Correct. Yeah.
But he has like a bad Southern accent in like every movie that he's in. Like everything he's in, I feel like he has an accent.
Not in The Truman Show or A Beautiful Mind.
Okay.
And those
Oh,
are
I
the only
love
two
A
things I've
Beautiful
seen him in.
Mind. Ugh.
He does in Westworld, so I guess that's the only thing I'm going off of. And when he was in True Detective, he did. So anyway,
So now, of course, Nicolas Cage is on a quest to redeem his family name, which ends up being another quest for treasure because it's the National Treasure franchise.
Always.
But of course, Ed Harris, sexy Ed Harris, sorry, I need to use his proper name. He wants the treasure too, and he doesn't want the Gates family to clear their name. So he's doing everything in his path to stop Nicolas Cage from basically, well, he kind of has the easy way out. He's not really doing anything. He just hacks their phones and just listens and just follows them.
their Motorola
Oh,
Razr,
yeah.
peak 2007. I had that
Oh,
phone.
my mom had the pink razor.
This is my first phone. Yeah, my first phone was a pink razor.
I was watching an episode of Entourage yesterday.
Of course.
Because I'm toxic. And one of the characters was texting somebody and they had a sidekick. And I was like, oh my gosh, this
God.
man is a king.
It flips up.
Okay, well, I mean, like, not to completely jump ahead.
Do
but
it. Let's
when
skip the whole
they-
movie. I don't care.
For real.
There is a moment, like, when they're in Buckingham Palace and Riley is hacking in, that he, like, opens up an iPod and then he pulls out a sidekick, and I was like, oh my god.
I'm already upset just thinking of the
Peak
Buckingham.
2007.
Just thinking of the scenes in Buckingham Palace. I'm already upset. I have a lot to say when we get to that.
Yeah. So, of course, our gang, time has passed since the first movie, and our gang has split up. Riley has his car repossessed by the IRS because he didn't pay any taxes on his foreign bank accounts. Nicolas Cage and Diane Kruger have broken up because Nicolas Cage is a terrible male chauvinist
He
pig.
sounds like a horrible boyfriend, and I also
Yeah.
would have thrown him out of my house. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
And I also...
I was surprised that, like,
Sorry, go ahead, Cassie. I'd say I would have
go
left him for Ty Burrell,
okay.
too. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's literally in my notes.
yeah.
Ty Burrell makes me feel safe.
But, like, there's, like, because seemingly it's been, like, probably, like, a year or
Yeah.
so since the first movie, if not much longer. I'm like, wow, I'm surprised this relationship is
Yeah, I'm surprised it wasn't just showmance,
thing.
you know?
Yeah.
It was probably once they ran out of all their like money that they got from the treasure from the first movie. They're like, wait, now we have to think about each other instead of our toys that we're getting. No, let's get another jet ski.
Working on ourselves? I don't think so.
Why work on ourselves when I can work on our shelves? And he just starts hammering into a wall.
Oh, God.
So yeah, Diane Kruger has left Nicolas Cage for pre-modern family Ty Burrell, who will later reappear in The Incredible Hulk as another boyfriend who gets stolen away, or who has his girlfriend stolen away from him, despite being the better person.
He is the better person.
But Nicolas Cage has to basically break into his home that he's no longer living in because he was kicked out, because he needs to get her ID pass so that they can break into somewhere. Honestly, I didn't pay that close of attention, but they needed her ID pass so they could get the code or whatever and find the map. and break the code. And God, this movie was such a slog to get through.
Dan's got his galoshes on. He can barely lift his feet. He's trekking through the muck.
I enjoyed shoveling today far more than this, and I shoveled for 2.5 hours.
I don't mean to be rude to the movie or anything, but I was no longer engaged about halfway through, so my notes get really spotty.
Yeah. Yeah, this one slogged much more, I feel like.
I had to get out my walking sticks to really push myself to get through, uphill battle the whole time.
My daily schedule is whatever, and then at 4 o'clock from 4 to 5, I watch 2 episodes of Adam 12 on MeTV because I'm an elderly man.
Correct.
I couldn't because I was watching this movie, and I was like, oh, what are my friends Pete and Malloy doing right now?
You are 1,000.
One of them passed away 5 years ago, and the other one's in his 80s. And I'm like,
God.
oh, my close, same age, same generation friends.
I bet you could Google and find
Yeah, I
out.
bet you really
definitely
could.
can.
Dan, I think you would really benefit from, I mean this completely seriously, but I think you'd, not right now, obviously, but I think you'd benefit from volunteering at, an elderly person's home.
I would love to hear their stories.
They would love you.
Are you kidding me? I would love that. I mean, I would if the world was not in the state that it's in right now.
So maybe after we're all vaccinated up and stuff, you should consider that.
What's up, my friends? Are you ready to talk about the war?
Which
Which one? No, you start.
I've been dying to talk to somebody about the war. I thought you'd never ask.
Sort of backpedaling a little bit. Riley has written a book.
Oh, and he's at a Borders.
And I just gotta say, the nostalgia for Borders.
Rip.
Borders. And also, they couldn't take Riley on the press tour.
No.
Nobody.
I think the last time I was at a Borders was for the midnight drop of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
I think.
I
went
two
with a friend.
memories
What year did that come out?
That was 2005 or 2004, I think.
Yep. Yeah, I went with my friend. I did not know anything about Harry Potter, and she wanted to go, and I was like, I've never stayed up till midnight before, and my mom let me go. Yeah. She has a kid now, and she announced her pregnancy with a D&D themed birth announcement.
Oh,
On brand.
God,
It was everything.
It's so good.
I have 2 memories of Borders, and neither of them are about books, because it was books and music.
Yes.
The first one was it was my whole family went for some reason, because my brother really liked Stacy's Mom, the song.
My soulmate.
so-
he and I are twins.
So he went to Borders, and we got Welcome Interstate Managers by Fountains of Wayne on CD.
Yes.
Oh my
Love
God.
it.
Because it had Stacy's Mom on it. and
Love
because
it.
it was 2004.
What a good year.
And then the other memory, only 2 years later, was I had gotten a Borders gift card for Christmas. And
You
I
had to
was
use
like,
it
what am I
quick
going
before
to
they
do
went out of business.
with my Borders gift card? Well, 2 years later, it was 2006. What aired in 2006? High School Musical. What did I do? I bought the DVD for High School Musical and a cookie with the leftover amount on my gift card.
Yes, I remember this story from our High
Nice.
School Musical episodes. Yes.
I forgot that I told the story, but it's such a good story, I have to tell it again.
Yeah, it's so nice. You told it twice.
I need to spice it up. Zac Efron was there, and I made out with him.
Oh my god.
I don't think I have any specific memories of Borders. It was mostly just that I was a nerdy kid and spent a lot of time in bookstores, so definitely spent a lot of time in Borders.
As you can tell, really invested in the movie.
Yeah,
So
much to talk
yeah,
about.
basically what they find out is from the diary page, it was a cipher. It has a clue on it. They have to go to France to look at a scale model of the Statue of Liberty. They go to France. They talk to these French cops, and I'm like, ugh.
Not a single baguette was ordered the whole trip. Honestly, a waste. No macarons
Absolutely.
in sight.
They were only in Paris for
Okay,
2
Yeah.
so
seconds.
go order a croissant. I would have. I would have made everybody stop just so we could hit a pastry shop for 2 seconds.
Imagine flying into France, and I assume they immediately go to like use this, crappy camera that like takes a picture that is far too
Yeah,
clear.
it would have been on like 2 pixels if this was real life.
This
Yeah.
2007 drone.
They like really rely a lot on using the Razor's phone camera in this movie, and like I can tell you because I had that phone, could not do what it does. In this. But anyway, I digress.
Half megapixel camera that the Razor
Oh
had.
my god, I remember like my mom gave me her Razor to play with after the battery and everything was taken out, or like the memory card was taken out, so I could take pictures and stuff on it, but it didn't save, obviously. God, they looked like it could be literally a potato. You wouldn't know if it was me or a potato. The screen, tiny. The camera, crappy. The quality, the memories, everything.
But it did have a front-facing camera because you could close the phone and like use the little screen to take
Innovation.
a picture. It's a whole anyway. So, because like I would assume that they would they'd get off the plane and then they would immediately go to like do this thing at that particular statue. And then seemingly they immediately hop in a cab to take them to the Channel to get into the UK to go to London. Like
we're truly we're clipping along with these places. We're visiting places and not even taking a minute to enjoy it. Not even stopping for lunch.
Yeah, they were probably in London for like a day.
Again,
they don't care.
Are we not stopping
It's not
for
America.
lunch?
Imagine taking 2 transatlantic flights
I would
in a week.
probably die from my brain and my body being so confused.
What is there to enjoy in Europe? There are no founding fathers.
No national treasure that we know of.
No national treasure. No documents from the 1700s of importance, especially not in England.
No
or France.
America.
I feel like the most engaged I was in this film was when they were in Europe because I was like, ooh, I want to go back there.
Fair.
It's not here.
It made me want to eat a croissant. Literally, my comment is,
catch me.
Wish I could just up and fly to France. Followed by when they were talking about the Resolute Twins. Oh man, my brain, when he's like, 2 Resolute Twins. I forgot what year this came out, and I went, duh, the Twin Towers. And then I went, wait.
Oh no.
That ain't it. And then I felt very guilty for a little while. I literally put, yikes, never mind, underneath.
Well, my immediate thought, because like I took a note that was like, he's taking so long to figure this clue out. Like, clearly, Resolute Twins, it's the 2
That was my second thought, correct.
Like, duh. And then, of course, it was like, oh, wait, it's
This
not
is like
that.
those memes that are like,
Never
me
mind.
watching the Olympic gymnasts with my bag of chips in my lap going, come on, land that double back twist flip. It's not that hard.
Right,
Like,
exactly. Me, I'm like, Nick Cage, I get that you're a famous treasure hunter, but I do the New York Times crossword puzzle every day.
And I've completed it twice. So
you could say my brain's pretty sharp, Nick Cage. I finished one Sudoku puzzle in my life.
Not to flex, but I do finish the New York Times crossword puzzle every day.
So as
I've become my father in my old age.
did somebody say becoming a father?
Oh,
Hi, would you
God.
like to talk about the war?
Oh God, Dan, you're becoming a grandfather, not a father.
What?
Grandfather.
What?
Get your ear horn out, father, grandfather.
I'm a whore? Is
Yes,
that what you said?
that is what I said.
Okay. So as we said, the Resolute Twins are the Resolute desks. One is the president's desk, the president of the United States, and the other is used by the Queen in Buckingham Palace. So they go to London to, quote the Wikipedia page, infiltrate the Queen's private living quarters.
Okay, before we even get a step further, I'm skipping over the scene that caused me immense secondhand embarrassment to tell you I loved the framed picture of one singular corgi on the Queen's desk. Okay, we can go back now to the scene that caused me physical
Anna,
pain.
Can you describe the scene that caused you physical secondhand embarrassment?
I really
think
wish
you
you
can do it
didn't.
more justice than I can.
I really wish you weren't making me, but okay. So, Nick Cage is at Buckingham Palace, right? And he's like dabbing some what I thought was cologne, but then he put it in his mouth, and I went, "That's not what you do with cologne. It's alcohol. It's like whatever. It doesn't matter. It's a dark alcohol." He he's trying to smell drunk, and he realizes Abigail is also there, which he wasn't expecting. So as soon as he realizes she's there, Riley goes in his little earpiece to Nick Cage. He goes, "Cause a scene." And, they could have just had a regular fight. But Nick Cage chose to go with a fight so fake, I would have had no doubt but to think this was some sort of sociological prank. You know what I mean? There's stomping, he's yelling, but he sounds like this because that's how people sound when they're fighting. And he's stomping and he's using his foot. Dan, if this had been real life and I watched somebody do this, I would genuinely think they were part of a performance troupe and not a very good one at that. And I'm watching this, and like when Abigail Chase is like, "Of course I knew you were fake." I'm like, "No, duh, you knew he was fake fighting with you. It was so obvious. It's just so painful to watch." Let me see if I have any good notes regarding this. Oh, and when he starts yelling back and forth, insulting the security guard, I did enjoy when the security guard said, "Sir, dismount the banister." But yeah, I don't know if that's a very good description, but it causes me a lot of physical embarrassment and secondhand emotional embarrassment. I don't know. I
think that really what this means is that Ben Gates is just like canonically a bad actor.
Maybe. But I don't know that I think it said in the script that Ben Gates is a bad actor.
I think
I feel like
Gage said that this is on the cusp of when Nick Cage started to kind of lose control. So
yeah, that was Pierce did say when I was watching it. He was like, "Man, Nicolas Cage is really unhinged."
That's exactly what Gage said. That is the exact word. Gage, actually, it was followed by, "We gotta watch Vampires Kiss soon." And I went, "No, I don't know. I'm a little scared, but okay."
That scene, though, like, it also reminded me of just, like, how memorable for me this, like, the trailer for this movie was. Because there are so many moments in the movie where I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this line more because I'm pretty sure it was part of the trailer. And, like, that part in particular was definitely a big, like, part of the trailer.
I will say, though, I did get annoyed because shortly after, when they're in the holding cell, and Abigail's like, "I'll come on this adventure with you," and he goes, "No, it's too dangerous. It's too dangerous." Like, she didn't just do a whole adventure with you that was incredibly dangerous. Come on. Oh, I'm heated.
he's
heated.
the worst.
It's like, it's so disappointing because these movies had a really great opportunity to, like, showcase a woman in a powerful,
educated,
and, like, prestigious academic role. And then they just squandered it by turning her into, like, every female trope. I mean, there's, later on, it's like, oh, it's a good thing Dr. Chase is here to use her feminine wiles to distract the White House man. Like,
isn't it so ironic? Oh, go ahead.
They squandered not only from, like, her strong female character perspective, but also from young impressionable men that you should respect people like that and not think of them as they show her in the movie.
Do you hear me snapping in the background, Dan? I agree.
And then every time that where was I going with this? Oh shoot. Well, when they were talking about, like, because when Riley and Ben break into his house and they're talking about why he and Abigail broke up, the way that Nick Cage describes it is like, well, she just started saying "so" a lot. And it's just, like, we don't get any kind of context into, which I guess is, like, realistic from a, like, gross man's perspective, but not really, like, a great message to be sending in a kid's movie.
Yeah. You're absolutely correct. Like you said, like, it's very much the truth of what the person who is refusing to listen to their partner's needs and wants would say, but the opportunity to present people as like okay, well, the thing I was gonna say before is like this is a prime example of how I think it's so interesting that like teaching or being a teacher is typically seen as there are no gender roles as far as jobs. Anybody can be at whatever they want. That is my firm opinion, as we all know. But
I can be a surrogate mother. That's my job.
If you were a penguin, you could be. Anyway, no, but you know what I mean? Like, teaching is seen as such a traditionally feminine job, but then people who are high up in academia are more respected if they're men. That literally makes no sense, but that's the way it is, and it's stupid, and I'm heated. I'm heated again. Anyway.
Well, I mean, the only, like, significant characters in this movie franchise who are, like, PhD holders.
Yeah, because it's the mom, right?
Like, it's mom, and it's
of course,
it's
my queen.
And
we just call her mom here.
It's mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it does, yeah, it makes no sense. I hear you.
Welcome back to our feminist podcast.
Nicolas Cage would hate me for this, but I'm going to start my next sentence with, so they somehow
He's triggered.
break into the Queen's living quarters by breaking out. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention.
They dress as corgis. No, I'm kidding.
And they find a clue in the Queen's Resolute desk, and it's this old thing that has another clue on it, because
it's
of
like
course
a piece
it does.
Of ship wood or something. I don't know what you call that. Not shiplap, in case we were confused.
Chip? Joanna?
Yeah.
Where?
They're...
So they go, oh, this is only half of it. We have to get the other half. Where is it? It's in the president's desk.
Gasp.
So they go to leave, and of course they are now chased by sexy Ed Harris. They get chased.
I don't think he's sexy. I'm sorry.
You're wrong.
I just
You're
don't.
wrong.
You're in the minority here.
What is sexy about? Okay, first of all, I'm gonna Google
his
him.
eyes.
Keep talking. Where?
His aura.
He's a good-looking man.
I'm Googling him.
And he has a sense of just, you know.
I looked at a picture of him.
Hot man.
And the very first, okay, he kind of looks like my dad without a mustache in that picture, so absolutely not.
Listen, when I see Ed Harris, the only thought going through my head is hold me firm.
I don't think so. He gives me, you know how you don't think that John Hamm is hot, Cassie?
Oh, you're dead wrong.
Oh yeah,
there.
because he looks
That's
like
the
my
kind
dad.
of vibes that I'm getting.
The only reason, I mean, I kind of like, I see why people
He's a
think John
Stone
Hamm
Cold
is hot,
Fox.
but I can't because he looks so
Correct.
much like my
Now,
dad.
Ed Harris doesn't look exactly like my father as much as your dad looks like John Hamm, but that's the kind of vibes I'm getting. You feel me now?
That's fair. That's fair.
Thank you.
I'll give you that, I guess. Yeah, this chase scene, though, is one of the most absurd chase scenes I think has ever existed.
Isn't there one part, I think it was Gage who pointed it out, that like the car was supposed to be wrecked or something, but then it suddenly wasn't wrecked anymore? Or am I thinking of something else that I watched this weekend?
I mean, like, it spins out and rams into the side of a double-decker bus. I'm sorry. And then, like, it just looks like the dent on the side is what, like, my, like, one of my, I think it was technically my second car looked like when I, like, backed up into a pole on, like, I misjudged, like, peeling out of a parking spot. That's what it looked like when this car has just gone full speed into a double-decker bus.
They really said continuity.
And, like,
who? Like...
I know, yeah. And, like, you know, and they're so good at driving on the other side of the road through a backup camera.
Yeah, I can't hardly even do that in America where I know how to drive and have been driving.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I feel like in a lot of ways, like, I feel like this movie in particular leaned a little bit more into, like, this premise is ridiculous and we know it than the first one did, because it's like, in some ways, I could buy that, like, you know, like, maybe somebody could steal the Declaration of Independence, but, like, there is no way that anyone could get into the Queen's, like, quarters in Buckingham Palace or
absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you even imagine if somebody tried to, like, do what Nick Cage does to quote-unquote kidnap the president? He would be dead before... Oh.
We'll get into this.
Shot on sight.
Yeah, exactly. I'll get into this later, but, you know, the audacity of white men.
Amen. Truly,
As a
amen.
representative of the council, I agree.
Thank you.
So they have to throw the piece into the River Thames, as they call it.
Not after taking a picture of it through a red light
Oh,
camera.
God.
Yeah. Because they couldn't take a picture with their phone. So they get into the office at the White House because Ty Burrell, who is a security guard at the White House, lets them in because they're there for the Easter egg roll, which is just open to the public. I don't know what dimension this movie is set in.
You could buy tickets.
But I don't think 9/11 happened. But it definitely did.
We did briefly skip over that, like, they take the plank, or the picture of the plank, to Ben's mom, who we find out, like, had a messy divorce with Ben's dad, who is Helen Mirren, a queen.
Literally.
But the only real thing of note that I have from this is, like, of course, the expert that they seek out about Native American
is a white person?
Is
an old white woman,
Like, this is where we start to, like, because I had forgotten about how, like, much Native American, like, folklore is in this movie. And so this is where I was like, oh yeah, now I remember that this is a lot of appropriation.
Yeah.
Like, so much.
For a movie that hinges pretty strongly on Native American relics and culture, there are a grand total of 0 Native Americans.
0 Native people in this movie.
And that's fun. Good for them.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. This is... No, never mind. That was stupid, Anna. I don't even know...
Say it. Say it. This is the hot take corner.
Hot take corner. Twilight might have been a bad movie, but at least they made sure all of their actors playing Native people were actually Native. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk, The End. I think about that a lot.
Yeah. I mean, at least, like, they didn't, like, try, like, they didn't, like, hire a white actor to play, like, a Native person.
I know this is completely different,
like,
but that's just directly where my brain went. I don't know why.
No, of course. Yeah.
Because, you know, National Treasure 2 equals Twilight franchise.
I agree. So they find the second plank is missing.
Gasp.
But there's a stamp that says it's in the president's secret book. The book of secrets.
Don't forget that the only reason why they get to check the desk is because Ty Burrell wants so bad to impress Abigail Chase. Because, you know, she should be just impressed by how sensitive and wonderful he is. Because that's the kind of characters he usually plays.
Yeah, but also, like, it's this poor, gullible, and horny man. Because it's, like, part of why he continues to look is because she's like, oh, maybe it's over here. Look at my butt as I bend over to look. I
swear to you,
couch.
if she squeezed her boobs together any harder to try and get his attention, she would have dislocated a shoulder or something. It was bad. I was like, Disney.
Yeah, Diane Kruger and Ty Burrell furiously make out in the Oval Office.
No consent.
Insert Bill Clinton joke.
Oh my God! Bye.
Post Dan. So they have to go to the president's birthday party. They have to break into the president's birthday party so that Nicolas Cage could talk to the president about his little secret diary book that only the president gets to see.
This party looks lit, may I just say.
It does.
Yeah. And there's also, like, this is another instance of just, like, the, because in order to get into the president's birthday party, they have to get it moved to
Yes.
Mount Vernon because Nick Cage has every kind of like obscure niche historical artifact that would make a really great gift for the people he's trying to take advantage of in both of these movies. Like, it was the campaign button. And this time it's a hand-drawn map of Mount Vernon. So they have to get it moved to Mount Vernon, and in order to do that, they're like calling around places to book them up, but then they're also starting rumors that like the place that they were going to have it at was a meeting house for like the Klan. And so they, in order for like the presidency and the White House to maintain like their PC, like
Their good standings.
reputation, they have to move it to somewhere that wasn't a suspected like house for white supremacists. So, and like just the irony of it being in a movie that's like so not politically correct. So anyway.
So how do they break into the president's party? Nicolas Cage stumbles up a hill. He tells the security guard, "Hey, you see my girl?" And he just walks in while his dad is fishing in a river, distracting the guard.
He sneaks into this party by being a white man. In a
Yes.
You
tuxedo.
said this already, but the
We've done this
audacity!
before, haven't we?
Yeah. This is what I was talking about when I was like, oh, I'll get
Doesn't he
into
do this in
later.
the first movie
'Cause,
too,
like-
though, pretty much?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, that was how he snuck into the gala. It's like, oh, yeah, I can just put on a tux and I look like I belong here. They're not going to suspect me.
Ugh.
At this party, Nicolas Cage meets the Canadian president of the United States.
Yes.
Who I think is just Bruce Greenwood, is the president. They don't give him a name. They just call him the president.
Yes.
And he kidnaps him by taking him, of course, on a hunt with a fun little map of Mount Vernon where there was a secret passage that he breaks him into and basically holds him hostage in. Federal crime. Mm-hmm. Probably would get the death penalty.
Shot on sight, if not given the death penalty.
And the president tells him basically that to look in the Library of Congress.
Yeah.
Yeah. And using that information, nothing really bad happens. Nothing happens to anyone. No consequences are faced for kidnapping the president.
The president is pretty much like, well, you were very nice. That's fine. This is fine. Which can only happen because you're a white man. Thank you.
This reminds me of my favorite book by James Patterson and Bill Clinton. The President is Missing. An actual
God.
book. I haven't read it, but I've seen the title.
Oh, God. A James Patterson book.
Hey, I like Maximum Ride.
James Patterson has written every genre. The man has written kids' books.
Correct.
He's just a brand now. He writes one line of
He's
these
just
books.
writing. Like, they just slap his name on it. This is like my mom's cousin technically has her own kind of wine, but she doesn't make it. They just pay her, or they just asked her if they could put her name on it if they pay her a little bit. She said, yeah. So it's probably like that.
Private labeling.
I
What?
have my own brand of drinks. This week's episode is brought to you by Dan Milk.
Ew.
It's
hated
like regular
that.
milk, but
Oh,
it has
no,
my
I
name
don't like
slapped
that.
on it. Drink Dan Milk.
I hate that. 100% hate that.
Coming to a retirement home near you.
Oh, God.
Boy, are we losing steam because this movie is completely out of steam. They go to the National Archives. They find the president's book. They find that they need to go. They specifically mention Borglum, referring to Gutzon Borglum, who was one of the designers, along with his father, of the Mount Rushmore. Also, fun fact, ardent Klan member. Big supporter of the Ku Klux Klan.
Of course.
And they all get dressed up in their LL Bean commercial shoot wear and go to Mount Rushmore, where there's a secret passageway with a bunch of random stuff in there, and then it's the climax of the first movie again.
Ugh.
Except
It's so
much
long.
longer.
The climax, I checked it. It's 40
It's
minutes
so
long.
long.
It starts with there's 40 minutes left of
Like,
the
I
movie.
remember-
Cassie,
I think I paused it when they were at like the president's birthday party, and that was only like an hour in, and I was like, what? Where did like what else has to happen? Yeah, and also like great way, because like they say that the reason that they built Mount Rushmore was to cover up the entrance to this like Native American legend of the City of Gold. And like again, what a great way to frame the like complete destruction and like just desecration of a sacred Native American like area of the Black Hills in building Mount Rushmore, than by saying, oh, like we did this to protect the greater sacred part of this like Native American history. It's like really like white saviorism and imperialism is like at its finest.
There is
a lot of this movie.
There was an actual proposal for like a hall of records to store all of like important American documents behind Mount Rushmore in like a gold safe, but not like a giant, very delicately balanced stone carving of what I assume to be the Declaration of Independence that they're running on in the climax.
Yeah. Not a like a, you know, temple of
A Legends of the Hidden Temple
whatever
obstacle course that they have inside of Mount Rushmore.
God, I wish that was real. Do you know how hard I'd be going on that that trail every single time I would go there? I've never been to Mount Rushmore, but if that was real, I'd be there. I'd absolutely be there.
It's disappointing. I mean,
I'd
you've
love
seen
to
the
have
pictures.
You know, like it's
Mount Rushmore is incredibly disappointing. The Black Hills, though, are beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
So beautiful. It's really a shame that we destroyed this cliff face.
You heard it here first, folks. Mount Rushmore, bad.
I'm still hooked on the idea that there'd be a Legends of the Hidden Temple style obstacle course back there. That would be everything. Thank you.
Yeah, that was my family's like road trip after it was the summer after my freshman year at Marquette. We drove out to Yellowstone, but then on our way back we went through like the Badlands and the Black Hills to see Mount Rushmore and stuff, and it was a very
Cassie,
good vacation. Loved
something
the
I'm
Black
discovering
Hills.
about the stories that you tell is that we had very similar childhoods, but it's like mine was like a student who was behind you in kitty corner tried to copy off your essays, so they were slightly different and didn't get everything wrapped in there. Like when we went around, we didn't go all the way to Yellowstone. We just kind of like drove around the Dakotas and stuff. But I was like, Northbrook Court.
I feel like
I've
it's
been
like
there. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I feel like it's like if you grow up in that like that North Shore Chicago suburbs, it's like we all just had the same life.
Absolutely.
And I'm from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And we hate you.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. No, but this was the part where like I remembered like because one of the things that I was like, oh, this is what makes the first National Treasure so fun is that it's so many things. It's a heist, it's a mystery, it's a treasure hunt. This movie was too many things. Like once it became the Raiders of the Lost Ark, I was like, all right, like you've done too much.
Yeah.
Say less, TBH.
I'm gonna just like wrap up the movie because the last 30 minutes are the
exhausting.
first 10 minutes of Raiders of the Lost Ark. If they were really, really bad, basically the group go down and they face peril and hardship as the cave and all the like booby traps try and thwart them. But of course they overcome it all and they have sexy Ed Harris with them. Because he wants the treasure. And eventually, of course, they find the City of Gold, under Mount Rushmore. But it starts to flood with water because that's the last booby trap that they got. They're going to flood everybody out so they don't...
Gasp.
The native people don't lose all their gold.
Okay, wait. Do you remember when they were like, what's that? What's that? And somebody goes, listen, right as the water's pouring in. I'm like, that's not what you should be doing right now. You should be getting the heck out of there, not listening with your ears pressed to the wall.
So they find a drainage chute that the water is draining from, but it's blocked by a wall that they can only open by spinning the like wheel of time from Lost. That can only be held open by two people, two strong men like Nicolas Cage and sexy Ed Harris.
Yep, that's what I'd call them.
So most of the gang makes it out, but not everyone does because sexy Ed Harris has a heroic turn at the end. He gives his life for the gang as they all escape. And then, I don't know, whatever.
Except that he
didn't want to, he just kind of did it.
But, you know. Yeah. That like shot of him like straining to hold it, like the gear open by himself, and it's like more of a wide shot. That was an image that I definitely remembered. But prior to watching this movie tonight, if someone was like, "Oh, you know that like scene that sexy Ed Harris was in where he's like holding open like this floodgate," I wouldn't have been able to
feel
tell
that.
you.
Yeah.
I 100% feel that in my bones. That's how I felt about the secondhand embarrassment scene. Like, I completely forgot that was in this movie until it happened, and then I was like, oh no. Ugh.
The one thing that I, for some reason, vividly remembered that was in this movie was right before they go into Mount Rushmore, when Nicolas Cage sticks his hand into the rock and starts screaming.
Oh, God.
Yeah, because that was in the
That's
trailer.
why. Okay, it's just etched into my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, and also when Riley has the line where he's like, "Look, it's a tiny gold man," when he's looking at the idol. That was
God.
And when he goes, "I'll drive," and gets in the passenger seat.
Yep. And all of the like quips from Nick Cage in his British accent.
No, stop. Too embarrassing. Can't do it.
Yeah.
So, here's how the movie ends. All the charges are cleared. He gives sexy Ed Harris joint credit for finding the city. Riley gets his Ferrari back.
Yes, with a note from the president. Yes.
Pay your taxes,
for real.
everybody. Sorry. And when the president's like tax-free, I'm like, no!
Control-Alt-Delete.
Pay the
Control-Alt-Delete.
taxes.
Nicolas Cage, Diane Kruger get back together, and then Ellen Mirren leads the excavation of the City of Gold and gets back together with the crazy man on Twitter. What's his name? I don't care. Angelina Jolie's dad.
It doesn't matter.
And then, is there a sequel hook? I didn't really pay attention when it got to the credits.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, because, okay, as much as I hated watching this movie today, I am still hurt that they never did the sequel because it did bother me so much as a child. Because, because the president is like, oh, when you're looking at my book in the Library of Congress, make sure you look at page 47. Like, and then that turned into, like, the biggest blue balls that Disney could ever give an entire generation. Because then we never find out what was on page 47. And there's even, like, in that last scene where they're, like, in, the Air Force One hangar, there's this moment where, like, the president is like, oh, so did you see what was on page 47? What do you make of it? And Nick Cage is like, oh, it's life-altering. And then we
Cage
just
again,
never know.
also salty about that cliffhanger.
I'm so salty.
Yeah. Sorry, everyone.
To this day. Maybe I sincerely hope that if Disney did, like, if they decide to do a Disney Plus series, or if they decide to do a third movie, because, like, bringing back all of the, like, the movies that were really big with us as kids is, like, Disney's really into that right now, like, with the Incredibles and everything. So if they decide to do that, as much as I did not like this one, I would sincerely hope that Disney would do a better job of it now. Like, I feel like
Yes.
yeah.
Hopefully. They might. They might not. Who knows?
Who's to say, you know?
I don't want to see it with like a younger generation. I want to see it with dogs, with puppies. Like, you know how they have like the snow buddies and like space buddies,
Absolutely,
Santa
yes.
buddies. I want National Treasure buddies.
I actually support this 110%. However, unpopular opinion, since I started working at the doggy daycare, I like labs less because they're more likely to bite my fingers off while trying to give them treats. So can it be maybe like a mixed breed dog, like a
Those are the
mutt
best
Yeah.
or
anyway.
two, instead of some lab puppies, because lab puppies really do be getting on my nerves lately. So, but I do love them.
I mean, so that's National Treasure Book of Secrets. It happened.
It was painful.
We all watched it. It was painful. I started skipping through the climax. I was like, oh, nothing is changing here.
I'm
Anna.
physically, Dan,
Go hard. Go
I'm
at
physically exhausted by this film. Like, I literally had to break it up into two segments because I had to go to work in the middle of it. I don't ever want to watch it again. Like, there's a reason why my family only owned
Yeah.
the first one. And now I remember why. My
Yeah.
rating is gonna not surprise anyone, but Disney might be hurt by it, you know?
And I went into it with high hopes because I remember that I liked this when I was a kid. I was like, yeah, this is fun. This is good. It's probably going to be silly and dumb, but it'll probably be quick and I'll enjoy it. And
Not quick.
whatever. I'm not going to remember it slow. Oh my gosh. It's like Footloose, like 2011 Footloose levels slow.
Oh, God. If there's no Kevin Bacon, I don't want it.
Yeah, it's because I did too. Like, I went into it with really high hopes because I remember liking it a lot. And I even, like, at the beginning of the movie, I was like, oh, this is feeling
Yeah.
much better. Like, I'm like, I think I'm gonna like this more because it's like, it's kind of funny. It definitely got a huge upgrade in terms of casting. I mean, how did they get Helen Mirren to agree to this?
Who knows?
And and Ed Harris. So like had much better, and like I feel like Nick Cage like was better, like acting wise in this. Even like it was, I feel like all of the performances were better. I think in part because these characters felt like actual people, whereas like I feel like with the first movie, there was like tons of backstory that was just like missing, and there was no subtext, and there was just like, you know, it was like. It felt like none of these characters really had relationships with each other. We don't really know, like, why, you know, Riley goes along with all of this. But now it's like, okay, these, like, people actually have connections to each other. It seems like they're just, like, actually, like, better written characters. And so I feel like the acting is probably better because they had more to work with, too. But then, like, it just, like, well, that was better. It was just like there was so much that they needed to cut. Like I think it would have been a really good sequel had they cut like half of it and maybe made it less like grossly offensive in terms of just the this particular treasure.
Yeah, they let's rework it, you know. Let's revisit this. Let's take a nice end of the week and revisit this on Monday. That's what I would have said as a Disney person at a table read.
Yeah, it's weird because like in the first one, it's all about like how America's founders are great men, which is whatever. We hear that all the time, whether it's true or not. We're just numb to it. But then this one was like. I don't even know what the thing that they were trying to say about like America manifest destiny is great.
Oh
like,
no,
colonization is good. I don't know.
Well, yeah. I mean, I feel like what like really at the core, which it's hard to get to because so much happens, and I feel like there is not a clear through line of just like what is the moral of this story, but. I mean, I think that the take-home bit was, like, avenge your, like, family's names. which I did have a lot of like moments where I was like, why do people care? Like, why do they care?
I know, like,
so
why don't they
much?
just go, oh,
That
yep,
like
my ancestor did something bad,
Yeah.
but I'm not doing something bad, so
Right.
that's that on that.
right
Yeah.
because like, and I mean there were moments like when like I think it was the first scene in like the FBI building where someone was like, oh, did you look at the headlines? Like, look, Mr. Gates's great great grandfather was a Lincoln assassination conspirator, and like, oh, like, haha, like, let's poke fun at Ben now. Like, that's like,
Yeah.
who does that today? Like, my great 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 something some number of greats grandfather is Daniel Boone.
Oh, I know that
who
name.
was like a he was like a frontiersman. Was not nearly like as at least based on the history that I've read, was not nearly as like terrible for Native American populations as many other frontiers people, but still, like, you know, was taking land from people. But nobody's like, oh, you're like great grandfather, great whatever, like, was a bad person.
Yeah.
Like, it's, you know, like, nobody. All, like, most of us, if we have like if our family history in America goes far enough back and we're white, all of our like distant relatives own slaves.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, so it was just, yeah, it was an interesting premise. Didn't really
No.
like buy it that that would be such a like, oh my god, I need to like clear my family's name.
Yeah, I mean, my family history does not go that far back in America, but my great great granddaddy or his brother or something was, I think, barred from running for office in Kenosha or something because he embezzled
Nice.
too much of their funds.
Oh gosh.
So I'm like, okay. That, I just think it's funny because all of these minor crimes that have
Yeah.
been committed in my family. Because, like, my dad's side, his great grandpa or something was kicked out of Ireland. I don't know why. Just kicked out. So now we're here, waiting to get kicked out. Don't know what's going to happen, but
I wish I could get kicked
right?
out.
Isn't that sad? It's the dream, but it's the dream.
I know. These whole, like, watching both of these movies, like, the only thing I could take away, I was like, man, I really want to move to Canada.
Before we get into our ratings, I have some trivia. This is the second film starring Nicolas Cage and sexy Ed Harris. The other one is The Rock, which also has Sean Connery in it, and is a much better movie. Which is weird because it's a Michael Bay movie, but it knows what it is. Helen Mirren was invited to meet Queen Elizabeth II because she played the role of the Queen in 2006. However, she was unable to because she was filming this movie.
Yikes. Can I just say, yikes.
If oh man, it'd be like one of my greatest
Yeah.
regrets in life.
I'm like, dang it.
And then Helen Mirren is supposedly playing an American in this movie. So, I guess.
Yeah. I had a hard time because I was like, I wanted to, I wrote a note that was like, you know, of course, the expert on pre-Columbian Native American languages is a white woman, which I was originally going to write like, is a white British woman. But then I like,
I
could
do not know
decipher what her dialect was going on.
And then lastly, the area depicted behind Mount Rushmore as being a lake is actually a lake that is about 20 miles away from Mount Rushmore. You know, just right out the back. So that's a pretty long walk that they took. And I mentioned this before, but Gutzon Borglum was the designer of Mount Rushmore. Ardent supporter of the Ku Klux Klan.
Ooh. Just gonna hit you with the one more time.
Thank you. So we can wrap up this cursed film and franchise. Cassie, as the guest, Well, wait, before I do the rating, who did you say your favorite actor or actress was? You could do a new one.
I said David. I said David Tennant last time. I guess. I think I'll
David
just stick
Tennant.
with that one.
Better, worse, or the same with David Tennant as Nicolas Cage.
I think better. Because this one has like less of the icon status than the first one. So, at least it would be more entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
I think. Who's to say?
Hopefully no one. Hopefully it's not remade word for word with David Tennant replacing Nicolas Cage and nothing else.
That'd be bad.
Better, worse, or the same with Jimmy Stewart as any role. It's the same. Nothing would change. His bones wouldn't even help. He'd been dead for 17 years at this point.
What if the
15
national
years or
treasure
whatever
was
he
just
died.
discovering Jimmy Stewart all over again?
I mean, if his bones were playing the skeleton that like is holding the knife that Ed Harris steals, that would be better because then at least it wouldn't be a bad
true.
skeleton.
And Anna, better, worse, or the same. Jonathan Taylor Thomas as Ed Harris.
Worse. I don't even know. I don't know. I've never heard him do a southern accent, but I just can't even picture it. Would they have made him shave his head for this role, do you think?
I'm picturing him just doing as much as he can to look like Ed Harris.
Oh god, it's going poorly in my mind. Oh no. Oh no. I'll keep it the way it is for now.
How tall is JTT?
5'4".
Okay, Ed Harris is 5'9".
Tall. I don't like him that tall. Just kidding. I think Gage is 5'11".
Okay, so we could finally be done. Cassie,
Thank God.
On a scale of 1 to 5 whitewashings of American history, what do you give this?
Yikes. I think I'm gonna give it a generous 1.5 because I know it was so weird because like this movie was exhausting and it took me on such a journey because in the beginning I was like, oh, I'm gonna rate this one higher. This is so much better, and then it just got so bad. They just needed to stop. Like somebody needed to stop them, The 0.5 is because I do think that like the writing got marginally better in terms of just like character development. But still a 1 because it was so long, so all over the place, so exhausting, and so appropriate.
Yes.
So yeah.
Anna, what about you?
I'm giving it half of a star because
Oh, wow.
Cassie, for all the reasons Cassie said, but also
I thought it was a scale of 1
I'm
to
giving
5.
it
0 to
0.5.
5.
Oh, 0 to 5? Oh, man. Then I maybe
That's
would
where
have
I'm at.
0.5. I don't
0.5.
know.
For all the things Cassie said, and also because I just completely lost interest near the end. I just had no interest, and I was like, gotta finish it for the fans, but at what cost? So Dan, I mean, I love. Oh, I just got a notification about Anna posting in the In Conclusion after party. Anyway,
Subtle shout out. Go follow our go join our Facebook group to have a discussion.
Yes. No, this was not it, fam. This was not the move. So, Dan, what did you think?
So I give it a 1 out of 5.
Okay.
And I will half a star for Ed Harris, just for his looks.
Just for Ed
not
Harris.
for his acting or anything.
His looks carried the show.
Because I remember him in The Truman Show and A Beautiful Mind, and I'm just thinking about those movies now, and I'm like, oh, those are so much better. And the other half star is because I liked Riley in this movie. Big switch around from the first one. I was like, I didn't like Riley in the first one. This one, I think he's wonderful. Yeah,
He's good at this one, yeah. I liked him in the first one, but I
so that equates to 1 out of 5. Always a good score.
So sad.
I know. I wish that I had taken a picture or we recorded like the video of the Zoom call, because when we got to the last third of the movie, all of us just had 1,000-yard stares going on, and we're actively not participating. I was like, can we not? Do we have to keep talking about this? But we have
Dan,
to.
this
It's called
movie-
In Conclusion. We have to hit the conclusion.
Okay, we're almost there. This movie was just exhausting. It was just exhausting.
I really wish. I wish in some ways that I just never watched this movie again, because I feel like it ruined
I need my 2 hours back.
my memories.
I need my
of
2
this.
hours back, Disney.
I missed Adam 12 for this.
Oh, goodness.
Although, it's early season Adam 12, which I'm not as big of a fan of, because I'm way more interested when they stop filming stuff on the back lot, and whenever they do stuff outside, it's actually on, like, the streets of Los Angeles, because I think it's cool seeing what LA looked like in the 70s and how different it looks now.
Yeah.
And also the back lot set just looks so fake.
Well, yeah.
I've been on
it's
that.
a back
I know
lot.
those aren't bricks. That's... I can... It's hollow under there.
Yes, correct.
Anyway. Cassie, thank you for being with us the past few
Yes,
weeks.
Cassie, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. I very
We
much
will-
enjoyed.
We will have to have you
out.
back at some point in the future when we talk about...
Yes, please.
Hopefully something better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we'll do... When National Treasure 3 comes out, we have to bring you on.
Jesus
Gagged.
Christ.
No.
Oh my god.
It's a torture sentence at this point. Where can people find you, or if you want to plug something?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. My handle is @cassafrasmakes. I post a lot of pictures, well, inconsistently post a lot of pictures of mainly my cats, but they're great, so please
They
go
are
follow me
great.
to look at them. But also sometimes my various, like, hobbies. Like, I made this quilt that I'm
looks
wrapped
really
in.
That
cool.
Grandma Cassie is wrapped in.
Thank you. I love it.
Awesome. If you want to find the show on the internet, you could do so on Facebook.com/InConclusion, on Twitter @AndInConclusion, on Instagram @InConclusionPodcast. We have a Patreon if you want to give us money, patreon.com/InConclusion. More helpful, spread the word, tell your friends, get more people to listen. That's always the best way that you could help us. If you want to find me, you can find me on Twitter @DanO'Keefe86, on Instagram @DLRAAR. And I've run out of social media accounts, new social media accounts to plug. So I guess on TikTok @NotDanO'Keefe. I like to not keep a consistent brand identity across platforms to make it an adventure to see if you can find me. Once I get verified, though, it's over for all of you.
Oh, God.
Anna, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram @AutomusPrime818, or you can find me on Twitter @AutobotsRollOut, capital O for Auto, capital B for Bots, capital R for Roll, and the O in Roll and the O in Out are zeros.
Before I announce what we will be talking about next week, there's one thing that I forgot to mention about this movie. Nicolas Cage's character is named Benjamin Gates, or Ben Gates. However, if you mumble it and don't say the last syllable of his last name, his name is Ben Gay. That's why he burns so much.
Oh my God, another elderly person
Ben Gay.
joke.
Oh,
What? My pudding's ready.
Pretty much.
So next week, Anna and I will be back, and we will be talking about, because it's February, it's the lead up to the most romantic holiday ever,
Cassie's birthday.
and
my
Cassie's
birthday.
birthday. But I was thinking,
everybody
Happy
wish me happy
birthday,
birthday.
Cassie.
I'm turning 26 and losing
Woo!
my health
Birthday,
insurance.
Cassie.
happy birthday, Cassie. The most romantic holiday I was, of course, speaking about is Ash Wednesday.
Amen.
And because of that, we will be having a romantic movie month. First off, we're doing The Notebook. We're starting out strong. So come back next week for that, where Anna and I will sob and sob and sob and sob.
Yep.
I know, I'm excited to listen.
In the meantime, everybody stay safe, have fun, wear a mask. If you can get vaccinated, get vaccinated.
Yes,
'Cause
get
that's a good
vaccinated,
thing.
fam.
Please.
And we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye. I talk so often about how a lot of dogs at work eat poop that I started getting ads for ways to deter your dog from